let's say, we celebrate you. Oh, 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 hey, hey, hey. Oh, 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 hey, hey, hey. Oh, 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 hey, hey, hey. I say, we say, let's say, we celebrate you. You changed your world, you overcame, you stayed your course, you made the win, you set the goal, the bar was high. I say, we say, let's say, we celebrate you. Oh, 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 hey, hey, hey. Oh, 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 hey, hey, hey. Oh, 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 hey, hey, hey. I say, we say, let's say, we celebrate you. Hello, everyone. It's a special evening, a special day, a special time, because I'm coming to you from my desk, which I don't normally do, because I have a special guest in town with me. And so I am making the most out of her. It's one of my spiritual daughters from Maryland, Dr. Ify. And you know that I love to challenge you on what God is saying and what God is doing, how he is stretching us, how he is making room for us and helping us to make the room. And so I want to introduce, she is amazing, absolutely love her, and I'm so grateful for her to be here. Dr. Ify, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Marina. So glad to be with you this evening or
Oh my
afternoon.
gosh. Evening, afternoon, whatever time zone people are
Whatever time, exactly.
And I just hope that as they're watching, they're going to tell me where they're watching us from, and this will speak to you. So as you can see in the banner is her book. She's the author of a new book, Data Speaks, or Data Speaks, depending on how you pronounce it. And so I'm going to just turn it over to her. But before I do, Ify, what's been one of the major things that this book has opened people up to understand?
This book has opened up people to understand that data is not just something someone is trying to impress them with, or it's not just speaking about achievements or non achievements, but it's something that people could use in their journey through the process from the beginning till the final outcome. So, yeah, data does tell stories.
Oh, wonderful. And you know, you've been working on this your whole ministry life, your whole corporate business life. And so to have something like this in people's hands that is literally your life, your understanding, your experience, but to make this so necessary for leaders. Why is it necessary for leaders to grab a hold of this book?
The reason why it's extremely leaders because my focus is on strategy, strategic leadership, not just understanding what is good in the present, but what an outcome that will be sustainable in the long run is extremely important. So we look at different aspects of leadership. And definitely, when you're talking about leadership, you always have to think of followership. You have to think of the people that look up to the leader. And so considering the organizational culture, change management, strategic foresight, the ability to communicate, the ability to address conflicts, and the ability to read between the lines what data is speaking to you is extremely important. Okay.
You know, yes, I know. I'm playing, and so I'm going to really express what's on your heart concerning this book, and for our mega women, because you know the marketplace definitely has changed, and leadership on a whole has changed right across the board, both
Yes.
corporate and in the Christian world. So just share what's
Yeah.
on your heart from your book, because I hope this inspires, encourages, and at the
Yeah.
same time challenge us to do better, right? So go ahead, my
Exactly.
love.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to talk about Data Speaks. Data Speaks, this book is available to you. You can visit my website at www.drifynathan.com. And if you can use the coupon MEGA, and you will get free shipping within the United States. Now, having said that, this book is just a little bit over 100 pages in it, but it does contain over 30 years of my professional career and experience and all my education combined. Well, the aspect I really want to talk on today is about organizational culture. Organizational culture, for many people, they are oblivious to the culture that they have created in their organizations or their churches or their communities or their groups. But anyone that comes from outside can easily spot why they fit in or why they don't fit in. And one of the things that I relish in this whole concept about data speaking business analytics for the creative leader is to be able to turn qualifying information to quantifying information. I like to be able to make that transfer because quantifying information is extremely precise. One thing most people will agree on, if we agree that the ethics is there, the character is there to behind creating the data, then we agree on the numbers. And so one of the things that I have realized in my profession and in my calling. I am also an executive pastor of a local church. I've been in that profession, answering that calling for over 30 years. Is that sometimes people try to define a situation or an atmosphere, an environment, and they lack the words to be able to express it or articulate it in a manner that is understood. One of the things you'll find out in this book is that we did a survey. We partnered with a local ministry and we did a survey. We had about 10 participants in a local church, and we had them complete this assessment independently. The assessment was speaking to the current culture of that ministry and what each of them independently believe that the culture should be. It was very interesting to look at 10 independent results coming, compute the data, and be able to see that whereas the current culture of that church was more, was very, it was more clan oriented, more family like, kind of in a cluster. There was a great desire for all those who participated to see the culture begin to expand its outreach measures, to begin to incorporate things that will reach out to people on the outside. Someone once asked us, if your church, if your ministry, if whatever it is you're doing should stop today, will the people in that community miss your presence? Will they know that you were ever there? And the only way they will know you were ever there is if you had an impact. If you had an impact in your immediate community or in the community surrounding you. And so this, to me, was one of the very key a key tool that I believe placed in the hands of church leadership to be able to use to have those difficult conversations. Like I said, I've been an executive pastor in the church for over 30 years, and sometimes we board meetings are not the most exciting places to be at. No matter how organized and how planned it could be, sometimes the conversations are difficult. Um, we do believe we stand on the word of God, but when it comes to management and business and all the other things that um, go with church work, uh, it behooves us to be able to find the words to articulate what we're doing and where we want to go and how we want to shape the needle forward. And having said that, we also know that we are currently in the most diverse workforce. Okay, let me talk to my mega woman. We're in the most diverse workforce generationally, and also there is a higher infiltration of women in the workforce. Do you know that sometime, I believe it was 1950, there about 34% of the women actually worked outside home. Now we're closer to 60% of our women work outside home. What does that mean? When we are predominantly, identified as responsible for parenting. They do look to us for some economic measures and some technological measures. What does that mean? What does that mean? That's something that this book will help you understand. Now, the other thing that is coming up, is being able to remain relevant. We talked about organizational culture. When you're able to identify and understand what the culture of your organization is saying, you're able to understand the different generational dynamics within your organization, and having understood that, you're able to make sure you're accommodating, or you are actually educating yourself on how to relate with the different generations that you are responsible for reaching, or you're working with, or whatever the case may be. And then we come to the women's side. We're talking about the increase of the women in the workforce. University completion, about 51% of universities are women. Okay, so there's an increased involvement of women in the workforce. There's an increased desire for women to expand their skills and to be able to express themselves beyond the four walls of their home. So, having said that, when you look at the workforce, you look at the culture, you now look at the jobs or the businesses available, you begin to find out that, yes, I know that's a hot topic and that's a hot debate about the ceiling and the opportunities that are there, and how, we have the skills, and sometimes we have to try as hard. But this is a secret there. God has given us the ability to be creative. God has given us the ability to nurture. We start off with a lot of innate skills that sometimes we don't have the vocabulary to define. And this book is going to begin to give you those aha moments. Oh, this is what it is. Okay, so I'm trying to influence change. This is how I go about it. This is how I go about getting buy-in for the change I want to influence. This is how I go about sounding relevant. Oh, there is a chapter here strictly on communication, being able to be concise, being able to capture, give high level information, assess the audience that you are focused on, and give them the information that they need with, in a concise manner. And so One of the things that we do, I actually am a CEO of Nathan Strategic Consultants, LLC. One of the things that we do very often is we do develop surveys. And I happen to have had the privilege of going through every county. I actually come from Maryland. And in Maryland, we have about 24, I'll say 23 counties and the city of Baltimore. And and in my role, I am a director at a government agency. And in my role, there was new technology being introduced into the department. And I was asked to be able to visit these different local departments and find out what will be the mitigating factors to be able to, for us to be ready for this new technology. And so, what I was able to do was to come up with an assessment tool that I used to be able to get information from every local department before visiting, analyze that information, and then when to visit the local department. When we present the information, the people were shocked when we told them exactly how their office was run. I mean, they could not believe it. Because I have experience of having gotten written, standard operating procedures, and it's always perfect. But we wanted to be able to help them, so attack imperfections. So giving me a perfect SOP was not going to be very for what we're trying to achieve, right? We're trying to dig into the culture in the office, right? So the assessment was able to expose that, not in a punitive manner, but in a way that we were able to say, okay, this is what we're looking at. Let us put our hands together and do a SWOT analysis. Having done the SWOT analysis, everyone is collaborating and engaged. They owned it. And then they began to put in place plans and procedures on how they wanted to prepare themselves for the change to come. As a mega woman, one of the things, when I look at the stats before us and I see we have where we have opportunities right now in broadcasting, in the consumer end of computer technology, and in real estate. We actually have, when I'm just looking at stats that speak to the opportunity for us to break the glass ceiling, right? And I see in real estate, in the computer sector, and also in broadcasting, we have a great opportunity in those areas. Like I said, we are creative. Let us take the opportunity, take advantage of these windows, and begin to create systems that are most, when I think about women in the workforce, the first thing that comes to my mind is childcare. The first thing that comes to my mind is being available for our children, in their growing phases. And so we begin to, allow ourselves to be involved in making policies that will favor where it is we are going, because that's what's coming. We have to make ourselves ready. We are educated. We're getting educated. We continue to be educated. For those of us who love the Lord, we have the Lord as a foundation, the Word as a foundation, and motives most times is just make things better. And having said that, I like, as a line from Dr. Marina, that we don't have to compete. We just need to collaborate. And data to that creative leader in you. I want to say God bless you. Thank you.
For those of you that are just getting to know Dr. Ify, and we've been among each other for years, over 2 decades of friendship, ministerial growth, corporate growth. And so you're getting in this brief moment that you've had of 20 minutes of her, you're just getting a brief taste of how to articulate, how to strategize in building your community, understand it is, identifying what your community is. And it's so important for you to grab a hold of this book, get it in the hands of your leaders, do a book study, have a book club in your community, in your group, and break it down, and then reach out to her. She's a consultant, so she will make time. You pay for that time. I add that to, but make sure that you reach out, because we need this, because we are breaking glass ceilings, both in the church realm and in the business realm. And, I love to educate you. I love to stretch you as I'm being stretched. And I thank you, Dr. Ify, for being here in my city. We're not doing this. We're doing this in the office, but she's in my city. She's local to me. And this is a start, ladies, a project. Reach out to me. I'd love with you, so that the Mega Women community can receive from you. What a privilege to be with you, Dr. Ify. You want to give the last word?
Thank you, Dr. Marina. This is just a dream come true. I I have said this. I never saw this. I have just learned to take God one step at a time. Right. When I began this journey, studying strategic leadership, I was just excited to learn more, to be able to give some more. And at the end
Yeah.
of the journey, towards the end of the journey, the Lord did impress upon my heart to crystallize what I have studied in the pages of this book. And then, true to tell, everybody says you have to launch the book. As I was planning to launch the book, the Holy Spirit said, "You're going to also launch your LLC." I said, "Really?
Yes. Yes.
Launch my LLC? Okay, go ahead." So here I went ahead, launched the LLC. And that actually happened in December of
Mhm.
last year. And a couple who
Wonderful.
had actually bought the book, and they had started reading the book while they came for the book launch. And after the book launch, just said to me, "You know what? We want you to be a consultant, because we're starting off this business based on what we have read." What struck me was the gentleman said, "As I read your book, I was amazed at how your brain works."
Hmm.
And
Yes.
flattered.
Yes.
I was amazed at how your brain works. And I
Uh-huh.
want us to join forces so we can bring my project alive. So, having said that, I want to offer two Mega Women. I'm here for you. I want to bring your dreams alive. Data does speak.
Yes.
God bless.
Wonderful, wonderful. And my community, my family, my friends right here on Mega tuning in. I know that you click and you share this, that you reach out to Pastor Ify, Dr. Ify, consultant Dr. Ify, and make sure that you are growing, expanding with kingdom principles and with kingdom women. God bless you. Have a great week. Stay there,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Ify.